What's going on, guys? We are looking at the latest Fallout 76 update, and this one is basically a big cleanup pass for the Infestations era. The first thing that jumps out is how many event problems got cleaned up. Headhunts were having a bad time, and this patch finally fixes the issue where the event could fail even after the target was defeated. On top of that, the Foreman and Corporal Jane are now dropping the correct boss tier loot, which is the kind of thing that sounds tiny until you realize how annoying it is when a reward feels off. Dangerous Pastimes also got some attention because the power armor enemies were spawning incorrectly, and Meat Week got a couple of adjustments too, including the Rusted Hog Splitter being renamed to the Poison Hog Splitter, and Moo Moo Curd actually showing up right when you place it in a display case. Even Mononga got cleaned up since the XP reward for powering up was not behaving the way it should, and Heart of the Swamp now hits a little less hard because the Mirelurk Queen's health was cut down a lot. That is the kind of tuning that makes the whole rotation feel less messy and a lot easier to enjoy. A big chunk of this patch is also about Infestations itself, and you can tell Bethesda has been watching the feedback closely. Enemies now drop more ammo, non-boss enemies are less likely to hand out legendary items, and the bosses were rebalanced, so larger groups actually have something worth pushing against. That part matters because if a public event is supposed to feel active, it needs to scale in a way that does not turn into a free farm or, on the other side, a complete slog. The update also adds server-wide messages when an infestation starts and when it gets cleared, which makes the whole thing feel much easier to track without opening menus every couple of minutes. The search area for locating an infestation was reduced too, so there is less wandering around hoping the game points you in the right direction. There are also smaller fixes folded into that section, like the map marker at Fort Defiance behaving properly, enemies attacking when they are supposed to, fast travel audio not glitching out between locations, and track challenges disappearing after completion instead of hanging around like a stubborn reminder. There is a lot of everyday gameplay polish here as well, and this is where the patch starts feeling especially practical. V8's unarmed attacks are working again, which is a huge relief for anyone who has been building around that style. Cannery recipes no longer benefit from Super Duper, and some of the canned food recipes now properly require both the cooked meal and the can, which keeps that whole system consistent instead of randomly generous. Fast-notched bosses are now all 3-star legendary enemies with more health, so that event should feel a little more substantial. Weapons got a healthy round of fixes too, like the LMG Critical 308 receiver finally using .308 ammo like it should, ammo refunds working again with Dom Pedro's magazine mods, the Plasma Caster short scope actually showing its lenses, and weapon mods that change base damage now displaying the right values in the Pip-Boy and Examine menus. That might sound like maintenance work, but this is the stuff that keeps builds from feeling broken in the background. The C.A.M.P. and UI side is packed with quality of life fixes too. Weather station effects should stop causing weird damage. Grunts, the rainbow weather machine now has the corrected rainbow coloring. Dogs C.A.M. Pets are less jittery when resting, and a few item names and placement issues were cleaned up, including the Cypress cat bed, the glowing doghouse, the glowing radhog bed, the Nuka stool category placement, and the framed blue tarp roof. Builders also get some nice polish with backpack flares lining up correctly on displays, the Camden Park claw machine animation behaving better, and the Wise Mothman throne getting a higher build limit. Over in the UI, gold bullion exchanges now cap correctly at 40, the season's unlock screen has the right button mapping, the map no longer zooms out too far on load, and the workshop menu and quest tracking overlap has been fixed. Even little things like the teal sync description, the rigged player title text, and the accessibility labels for text-to-speech and speech-to-text got attention, which tells me this patch is really trying to tidy up the whole experience instead of only chasing the loudest bugs. Bethesda also says the native Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 update is still in development, and that once console testing starts, those players will be brought into the PTS experience as well. So overall, this is one of those Fallout 76 updates that may not sound at first, but the more you look at it, the more you see how much it actually touches. Events are more reliable, infestations are better paced, rewards make more sense like weapons, and V.A.S behave properly, and a bunch of camp UI and visual issues are finally out of the way. It feels like Bethesda spent this pass tightening the bolts, fixing the weird little problems, and making the game just run cleaner across the board.